name's Anna, and I'll be doing the first week of construction. The affirmatives plan is saying that because Oregon schools funding is being cut, schools are being closed, so we need to legalize the use of recreational marijuana in order to tax it, and that money will supposedly be going back to schools. In contention 1, subpoint A, they're saying that closed schools is because of budget cuts and less state funding. We don't know how much the budget cuts are really affecting the schools. It could be affecting the books. We don't really know. There's no clear evidence saying that the budget cuts are directly affecting the schools and the outcomes. And in subpoint B, they're saying that closed schools is leading to larger class sizes, and that's become a problem. And that leads to subpoint 3 saying that there's poor learning outcomes and everything. The whole contention 1 is saying that the larger class sizes is leading to dropouts, but poverty is also a leading cause in student dropouts. Russell Rumberger, PhD in psychology, American Psychological Association, published May 2013, last access November 13th, 2013. Poverty and dropouts are inextricably connected in the 3 primary settings affecting healthy child and adolescent development: families, schools, and communities. In 2009, poor students were 5 times more likely to drop out of high school than high-income students. Child poverty is rampant in the United States, with more than 20% of school-age children living in poor families. So this is saying that the large class sizes is not a significant problem for student dropouts, because there's also other things connecting to student dropouts. Poverty is a big problem in the United States, and the poor kids aren't learning as well because they're hungry, families aren't paying attention to them, a million different problems. So just because there's a large class size doesn't really make it a significant problem in the dropout. So unless this money that's coming from taxing, legalizing marijuana is going to go to the families that are poor with the students that are dropping out because of that, it's not really a significant problem. It's not solving anything. In contention 2, subpoint A, they're saying that taxing money and saving money on prison costs will project $1 to $2 million. But there's no guarantee how much money there is to be made. Jose Pagliari, technological reporter, CNN Money, 2010 to 2012. Daily Business Review, published May 10, 2013, last access November 12, 2013. Still, these forecasts are rough guesses. They're based on estimates of drug uses and marijuana prices, both of which are difficult to measure because most of the cannabis industry is underground. Another problem will be tax collection, especially because there is an all-cash industry. Banks and credit card companies won't serve pot businesses while cannabis is still being deemed illegal at the federal level. So, because we don't really know how much money is being generated from this tax that they're going to implement, we don't know if it's going to be enough money to actually solve all of these school problems and raise enough tax money to implement it back into the schools to help all the children. In contention 2, subpoint B, they're saying that state and local governments will save money, and that the federal and state money will be spent on regulating marijuana and it'll be fine. But federal government still sees pot as illegal, and so they're not really going to help out with the problems. We see it in California right now with the marijuana for medical uses. They're being shut down everywhere because it's still illegal, and so they're not going to help us. And even if it does become legal, taxing it will be used up. Money generated from legalizing marijuana will be wasted on regulating it. Julia Lawrence, author, Education News, published September 25th, 2012, last access November 11th, 2013. But even the most dedicated supporters of the effort concede that it is hard to predict exactly how much money the states are likely to take in if the legalization initiative passes. Although supporters predict a substantial windfall, they are unwilling to commit an exact number. Those who oppose it, especially the skeptics from the state government, counter that anything gained via taxes and reduced criminal justice costs will be swallowed up by the price of maintaining a new regulatory regime aimed at tracking marijuana sellers and growers. So even if we do make money off of it, it's going to be a whole new wave of regulating the marijuana because it's still, 1, federally illegal, and then 2, we're going to have to regulate it to keep it out of the hands of the youth. So in contention 2, subpoint C, they say that money will go to the schools, but as Matt said in the cross-examination, we don't really know how much money is going to go to the schools. So it doesn't really prove that it's going to be enough money to put the money back into the schools that we need to stop the student dropouts. It doesn't give the affirmative plan doesn't give a clear number of how much money the schools are losing. And it doesn't say that the solvency is going to project enough to solve it. And so it's not significant because students are dropping out for other reasons other than just larger class sizes. And it doesn't really solve anything because it doesn't prove that there's enough money generated from regulating the marijuana to protect the children. And now stand open for cross-examination.
Okay. All right, first of all, you attacked our contention 1 subpoint A by saying that budget cuts, we don't know how much money, but isn't any amount of money significant that we could get to go back to schools?
No.
So it's not good to get money for schools?
Yeah, but if it's a minimal amount, then it's not really going to affect anything.
But there were a lot of projected numbers up in the millions, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then also you said that poverty is a big cause of dropping out, but so is lack of funding for schools. And so you can argue, I'm making a point. Okay, let me ask you a question, okay? I'll come back to it. So
it's just proving that the higher class size isn't a significant problem.
Isn't it a significant problem along with poverty?
But it's 2 separate issues.
But aren't they both significant in their own right?
Yes.
Okay. And then also for California, you attacked our contention 2 subpoint B, and you talked about California's having issue with the medical marijuana, but we're talking about recreational marijuana, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As well for you attacked our contention 2 subpoint C, saying about 40% that there wasn't enough, that there wasn't a projected amount, but also isn't 40% a good amount out of 100%?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Basically saying that when you said in our contention 2C that we don't have a firm amount of money that will go back to schools if we don't have that number, but we did say 40%, right?
That will go back to schools, but 1, you didn't say where in schools it will go, and 2, I'm saying that you didn't say how much money the schools were losing initially to prove that the money generated from the taxes will fix the problem.
Okay.
Time.
All right, well,
Cool. That's good.